Discover the incredible moment a little girl's kindness changed a billionaire's life forever. In the heart of a crumbling Michigan town, where the air was thick with the scent of rust and fading dreams, 10-year-old Lily Thompson had a heart that shone like the sun. She rushed through the empty streets with a paper bag in her hands, a cheery red scarf whipped around her neck, and an endless supply of hope pouring from her smile. Like clockwork, she volunteered alongside her mother, Annie, delivering meals to families struggling to make ends meet. Their little acts of kindness stood tallest against the backdrop of despair, breathing life back into a community that felt forgotten. One dreary afternoon, while trudging towards a neighbor's doorstep, Lily's eyes drifted to the grand, shadow-casting mansion that once belonged to Charles Worthington, an elusive billionaire who had turned his back on the town long ago. The darkened windows felt like a shout in the silence, a call for connection that echoing in her heart. Lily felt that if she could just reach out to him, he might remember the warmth of the town he had left behind. "Hey, Mom," Lily asked, her innocent voice cutting through Annie's tired thoughts. "What if we write to Mr. Worthington? He's always alone in that big house. Maybe he needs a friend." Annie paused, her brow furrowing with concern. But with a smile, she nodded, impressed by her daughter's fearless spirit. With a bundle of letters tucked safely beside the meals, Lily's gentle words filled the air. "Hi Mr. Worthington. I hope you're doing okay. I'm sending you some food, please enjoy. You can still be part of our community." Her messages found their way into the hands of the man hidden behind those darkened windows. It didn't take long for the notes to pierce through Charles's solitude, filling him with a warmth he thought had long since vanished, but just as the warmth beckoned, shadows loomed closer for Lily. An eviction notice lay heavy on the old kitchen table, a bitter reminder of her mother's struggle. Lily felt her small world faltering, the pressure of reality weighing down on her little frame. "What if we lose our home, Mom?" she whispered, the tremor in her voice breaking Annie's heart. She reached out, brushing away Lily's tears, determined to keep them afloat even as the waters of hardship crashed around them. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Charles struggled with his identity, his heart heavy with guilt for abandoning those he once knew. Inspired by Lily's notes, he grappled with a powerful need to connect. A charity gala emerged as his opportunity, a last-ditch effort to reclaim a sense of belonging. But upon witnessing the lifeless atmosphere filled with people who adored wealth without warmth, he felt lost. Lily watched from afar, a flicker of realization igniting in her chest. "Kindness isn't about money," she whispered, knowing deep down that true compassion could bridge the widest of divides. As hope began flickering anew between them, the question remained, would their intertwined paths light the way to healing, or would they continue to wander lonely and unrecognized in this world that seemed so divided? The stage was set for change and both Lily and Charles could only wonder if genuine kindness could truly mend what once felt broken. The nights grew cold as autumn settled into the forgotten town, its chill creeping under doorways and through the cracks of worn-out houses. Lily and her mom, Annie, bundled together in their modest home, felt the weight of uncertainty anchor them down. The eviction notice still sat on the table, a constant reminder of their precarious situation. Each morning brought the same fear, the same heartache, but Lily held on to the thread of hope she'd woven through her notes to Mr. Worthington. Days passed after the charity gala, and while Charles Worthington sat alone in his mansion once more, the echoes of laughter and hollow conversation played like a haunting melody. He recalled Lily's letters, the way her innocent hope had stirred something deep within him. Charles wandered the halls, the walls adorned with portraits of a past he couldn't escape, their eyes following him, questioning his choices. "Maybe it's time I stop being a ghost," he murmured to himself, clenching a letter from Lily he'd tucked away. The warmth she sent him felt like a lighthouse in the dark, drawing him closer to shore. He gazed out at the town he once left behind, and a surge of resolution sprang forth. The next morning, as dawn broke, Charles made a plan. He pulled out his phone, a device that felt foreign to him, and called his old assistant. "I need help organizing an event," he said, his voice steady with new determination. "Something for the community." His heart raced as the words left his mouth, a spark of life igniting in a space that had been numb for far too long. Meanwhile, Lily was busy carrying on her small mission. School was tough, and whispers of her family's struggles floated around like smoke. But when she opened her heart to her classmates, sharing how important their meals were to some families, she began to see change. Their empathy bloomed like wildflowers in the cracks of concrete, and soon, her classmates were bringing canned goods and donations to school. "Together, we can make a difference," Lily exclaimed, her excitement propelling her forward. As the days grew shorter, Charles worked tirelessly with his team. They transformed the aging community center, bringing in lights, music, and volunteers. The event would welcome everyone, but he wanted one person there more than anyone else: Lily. He sent word to Annie, inviting them both to the grand unveiling of his project. The thought of having her support charged him with a nervous energy. Would they embrace his offering? Would she trust him after all those years of silence? Lily's heart soared when her mom shared the news. Hope bubbled over inside her. "Do you think he remembers us?" she asked, her eyes wide with anticipation. Annie smiled, seeing the familiar spark in her daughter's gaze. "If he's reaching out, it means he's trying. Kindness connects us all, Lily." As they prepared for the big day, excitement mixed with apprehension filled the air. The night of the event finally arrived, and both Charles and Lily stood at the crossroads of their journey. What they did not know was that the choices they would make in the coming moments would alter the course of their lives forever. The glow of the community center beckoned them closer, but could they bridge the gap that time and loneliness had forged between them? Would that night's events reveal the unexpected bond they both desperately needed? The evening unfolded with promise and uncertainty, but one question loomed large: would pain give way to hope, or would they find themselves lost again in the shadows of their past? Lily stood at the edge of the community center's parking lot, her heart racing as the colorful lights twinkled like stars in the evening sky. The chatter of excited voices floated through the air, mingling with the faint notes of music that drifted out from inside. Tonight was different, and she could feel it. "Mom, are you ready?" she called, adjusting her dress anxiously. It was borrowed from a friend and felt foreign against her skin, but she wanted to look her best tonight. Annie stepped out, her expression reflecting a mix of pride and apprehension. "I think so. Just remember, we're not here to impress anyone. Just to enjoy what Charles has planned," she reminded her. "I know, but it feels special," Lily replied, squaring her shoulders. She took her mother's hand, squeezing it tightly, grounding herself in the moment. Together, they walked toward the entrance, the distant sound swelling into a crescendo that seemed to pulse in time with Lily's heartbeat. Inside, the atmosphere buzzed with energy. Families milled about, children darting between tables laden with food and games. The walls were adorned with banners that read, "Together we rise," and everywhere she looked, smiles flickered like candlelight. But amidst the laughter, one person captured her attention: a figure standing slightly apart from the crowd, Charles Worthington. He stood by the entrance, a beacon of uncertainty, shifting on his feet as he welcomed guests. The moment their eyes met, time seemed to stand still. A flurry of emotions swirled inside Lily: fear, anticipation, hope. Would this man who had once been a distant silhouette in her life now become something more? Lily. He recognized her first, his eyes lighting up like a child's at Christmas. "I'm so glad you could make it." Her stomach fluttered as she approached, unsure of how to respond. I love what you've done here," she managed, glancing around at the bustling room. Charles beamed, and his smile transformed his features, unearthing a boyish charm Lily hadn't expected. "Thank you. I wanted to create something that brings us all together." Just then, a group of children rushed past, their laughter infectious. Lily's heart felt lighter. You really did, Mr. Worthington. It's amazing. Their moment was cut short as other guests approached, offering greetings and thanks. Lily stood back, observing how Charles moved through the crowd. He seemed more at ease, laughter escaping his lips, a sense of belonging radiating from him. It made her smile to see this side of him. Would you like to help me with something? Charles's voice pulled her from her thoughts. He gestured toward a booth where families were signing up for local programs. I could use an extra pair of hands. Absolutely. She replied, her excitement bubbling over. As they worked side by side, a warm ease enveloped the space between them. Lily began to share her ideas about the upcoming school food pantry project, her enthusiasm flowing freely. Charles listened intently, nodding and jotting down notes, his admiration clear in his eyes. Each time she spoke, she could feel their connection building, each word a small bridge across the years of silence. Annie watched from a distance, her heart swelling with hope. Could this be the beginning of something beautiful? But just as their laughter filled the space, a sudden shout rang out from the game area. A little boy had fallen, his nose bleeding. As the crowd swarmed around him, a ripple of concern broke the joyful atmosphere. Lily's heart sank. This was the moment she had feared might happen. Would they be able to help him? Would their good night turn into chaos? As concerned whispers filled the air, Charles squeezed Lily's shoulder gently, his voice steady. Stay here. I'll take care of this. Lily watched as he rushed toward the commotion, a surprising courage shining in his eyes. It made her realize that even the strongest among us sometimes falter, but it's how we respond that matters most. In that instant, she felt a spark of determination igniting within her. Tonight could still reveal the truth of connection and kindness. Would they both find the strength to step forward and embrace the change they needed? As the night wore on, shadows danced and formed around them. The air crackled with potential, but just how deep would the bonds grow? Lily and Charles were about to discover the profound depths of compassion and the unexpected ways it could change everything. Lily shifted her weight from one foot to the other, her eyes glued to Charles as he moved purposefully toward the boy. The thrumming of her heart echoed in her ears, worry mixing with admiration. She had always seen Charles as polished, a man of stature, but this was a side of him she had never anticipated, firm and protective, willing to act swiftly in the face of chaos. As he knelt beside the boy, she caught snippets of his comforting words. Hey there, it's okay. You're going to be all right. I'm here. He brushed a lingering tear from the young boy's cheek, his fingers gentle and soothing. The crowd that had gathered began to disperse as Charles worked. Just like that, fear shifted to calm, and the boy's whimpers softened into shy smiles. The moment struck Lily profoundly. This wasn't just a community event, it was a family, a collective in struggle and joy, sharing in the frailty of life. Watching him, she felt an urge to join him. Her desire surged, and before she could second-guess herself, she slipped through the remaining crowd toward Charles. The boy's mother stood crying quietly beside them, her fear mixed with relief as she watched Charles tend to her son. Is he going to be okay? Lily asked softly as she reached Charles's side, her heart racing a rhythm of uncertainty. Charles looked up, his expression brightening. Yeah, I think so. It's just a little bump, right buddy? The boy nodded, still clutching his nose, but the anxious tension in his expression was easing. Let us clean you up and see to that nose, all right? I need your help, though. Can you be brave for me? Charles continued, and even with his minor injuries, the boy managed a weak smile. Lily instinctively felt a rush of warmth toward both of them. I can help. She knelt beside them, grabbing a clean tissue from the first aid kit Charles had pulled out. Here, I can hold it for you, she offered, placing the tissue carefully against the boy's nose. Gratitude flickered in his big brown eyes. Thank you, he whispered, and it felt like the weight of the world had lifted. Together, they tended to him, Charles assuring him that heroes wear bandages, while joking that they defined a champion cape fit for a kid. Laughter mingled with the comfort of teamwork, creating a moment that felt sacred. Lily could hardly grasp the transformation happening around her. Not just the boy's spirit being lifted, but how Charles was morphing into a man she truly admired. His kindness was spreading like wildfire, igniting her hope. When the boy was finally on his feet again, he looked up at Charles, eyes shining with admiration. "You were like a real superhero, mister." Charles chuckled, running a hand through his hair, humility overcoming him. "Just doing what anyone would do." But Lily saw the flicker of something deeper, a spark of realization that maybe he was meant for more than just being Mr. Worthington, the local wealthy man. The vibe of the event shifted again, laughter returned, and chatter rekindled. But for Lily, everything revolved around that small moment they had shared, a single act of compassion that had genuinely changed the course of the night. As the community buzzed, Lily felt a new resolve strengthening within her. This was her opportunity too. She wanted to step up, to be part of something bigger. "Lily!" Her mother's voice called out through the throng, drawing her back to reality. Meeting her mother's gaze, she knew just what she wanted to say. But before she could speak, Charles approached them, joy twinkling in his eyes. "Thank you for your help back there, Lily. You really are amazing." A spark of warmth ignited in her chest, but before she could respond, the lights flickered, and the crowd hushed. Charles turned, brows furrowing slightly. "What's happening?" An electrical buzz hummed through the room, and the twists of fate took an unexpected turn as a shadow loomed near the entrance, drawing every eye. What new challenges awaited them beyond the bright lights of celebration? As questions bubbled in her throat, Lily felt her heart race again, but this time it was mixed with an uneasy anticipation. What could possibly come next? The moment hung heavy in the air. An unsettling silence spread through the gathering as everyone turned to see the figure stepping into the light from outside. Lily's heart thumped in her chest, forcing her to hold her breath. She tried to make out the details, but the silhouette remained shrouded in darkness just beyond the entrance. Charles stood tall, his protective instinct flickering back to life. He edged forward slightly, catching Lily's eye, his expression a blend of determination and concern. "Stay close," he whispered, and Lily nodded, wanting to be near him to feel that pulse of courage radiating from him. The figure took another step forward, revealing a man. His clothes were dark, stylish, maybe too polished for a community event. He exuded an air of authority, and that caught the crowd off guard. Murmurs buzzed like bees as uncertainty rippled among the onlookers. "Is that?" Lily heard someone murmur. "Who is he?" Another voice cut through. No answers came. Just confusion, mixed with growing tension. Skepticism loomed as the newcomer scanned the room with piercing eyes, searching for someone or something. Then he found it. His gaze landed squarely on Charles. Lily felt the air shift palpably, as if the ground itself had begun to tremble. "This isn't just a social gathering, is it?" The man's voice was smooth, yet it carried an edge that sent shivers down Lily's spine. "What do you want?" Charles asked, his own gaze unwavering. Lily admired his bravery. He was here, face to face with uncertainty, grounding himself as a shield for those around him. But the anxious whispers swirled like a storm, leaving Lily grappling with feelings she didn't understand. The fear of the unknown clouding her head. The man took another step forward, penetrating the space between them. "You have something I need," he said, his eyes narrowing as he focused on Charles. "What's that?" Charles pressed, and the firmness in his voice masked the uncertainty quaking beneath it. "I'm looking for someone. A lost connection potential, if you will. I've been told you might know where to find them." The man smiled, yet it didn't reach his eyes. "What do you mean?" The confusion in Charles's voice mirrored Lily's. "Your kindness tonight," the man continued, brushing his hand through the air. "You've caught more than just the boy's attention, you've caught mine. And I believe we can influence this community together." Lily felt a shiver run down her spine. This was no ordinary conversation, something much larger was at stake. The man's offer danced on the edge of a brilliant opportunity but felt dangerously close to a trap. Charles glanced back at Lily for just a moment, and in that stolen glance, she caught a flicker of something indecipherable, a mixture of hope, fear, and an unshakable resolve. The crowd shifted, uncertainty weighing heavily. Would they embrace this offer? Would Charles? Would she? Lily, Charles finally said, looking at her pointedly, whatever happens next. Just then, the lights flickered again, more erratically this time, cutting through the tension like a knife. The room felt cold and charged, as if they were on the brink of something monumental. "Let's talk outside," the man suggested, his smirk growing wider. "Away from the eyes of your friends." What choice did they have? Lily could feel her heart thundering, fear and intrigue battling inside her. What lay behind those mysterious eyes? And what did it mean for her, for Charles, and for the community they had just begun to bond with? As they took their first step toward the door, the uncertainty thick in the air, the flickering light steadied, leaving them enveloped in a tense calm, ready to plunge into the unknown. What awaited them beyond the threshold? Would it be the key to their dreams or the unraveling of everything they held dear? As they stepped outside, the chill of the night air wrapped around them like an unwelcome blanket. The stars were hidden behind a shroud of clouds, casting a dark veil over the courtyard. The crowd inside, muffled now, felt a world away. The man paused on the threshold, his back to the gathering, scanning the skies as if searching for something hidden amid the clouds. "Ah, the night is perfect for secrets," he murmured, a sly smile playing on his lips. "Wouldn't you agree?" Lily felt the weight of uncertainty settle on her shoulders. "What are you talking about?" she demanded, her voice steadier than she felt. Charles took a step closer, positioning himself at her side, his protective presence an anchor against the impending storm. "Just tell us what you want." "We don't have time for riddles," he said, voice low yet firm, determination lacing each word. The man turned, tilting his head slightly, his smirk fading into an almost sincere expression. "You misunderstand me," he replied, dropping his voice into a more intimate cadence. "I'm simply here to help." "Help?" Lily scoffed, folding her arms as doubt washed over her. "This isn't some charity event. You're after something, and we deserve to know what." "I'm glad you see through the pretense," he said, his eyes glimmering like polished stones, cold and unyielding. "But my intentions are more complex. There's a power here, a potential in this community you've all overlooked." "What do you mean?" Charles asked again, his question laced with an urgency that deepened the tension between them. "I'm talking about influence. Change. I've seen people rise and fall within systems like this one. I've seen communities thrive and dissolve, based on small acts of kindness or betrayal." He gestured towards the building, his hand like a magician revealing a trick. "You stirred something tonight, and I plan to harness it." A thick silence wrapped around them, each heartbeat echoing against the night. Lily's gaze flickered to the building, where laughter and camaraderie still buzzed inside. But nothing felt as certain as it had moments ago. "Why should we trust you?" Charles' voice remained steady but edged with skepticism. "Because I'm offering you both a chance to change things for the better," the man replied, shifting to address them one at a time. "You have a fresh perspective. I can help you expand it. Imagine if you could really invest in this community. Think about what it means to you, to your friends, to the boy." Lily felt her stomach twist. "And the cost?" The man narrowed his eyes, the playful glimmer replaced by something more serious. "Nothing comes for free. There is always a cost to pay. But think about what's at stake. The boy, the community, your future." Lily inhaled sharply, the truth weighing heavily. What if this was the opportunity for something greater? Something that could shift everything they believed they could achieve? But at what risk? A flicker of hesitation passed between her and Charles. "We can't just jump at the first offer," he said finally, looking at her, warmth and worry fighting for space in his eyes. This isn't a game. The man's laughter broke the tension. Ah, but life is a game, dear friends. One that I've played for years. The question is, are you willing to play? Lily's heart raced, confusion battling with hope. What lay ahead felt overwhelming, a path filled with potential yet edged with peril. As they stood there in the dark, preparing to make a decision that could shift their entire world, the air hummed with possibilities. What if they could be the change everyone needed? But deep inside, that nagging fear remained. Was this invitation to join a larger scheme one that would come at a price none of them could truly afford? They faced each other, silent agreement forming like the clouds above. But just as Lily was about to speak, a loud crash echoed from within the hall, breaking the fragile moment. What was happening now? The night had only just begun, and already, it felt as if everything was spiraling out of control. The sound of shattered glass rang through the night, sharp and jarring. Lily's heart lurched. It was followed by a rush of footsteps from inside the hall, a collective gasp from the crowd. The man turned toward the entrance, his previous amusement now flickering into a keen interest. "Looks like you're not the only ones eager for change," he said, a spark lighting in his eyes. "Let us see how this unfolds, shall we?" Charles grabbed Lily's wrist, a firm grip laced with urgency. "We can't stay here. Something's wrong." Together, they rushed toward the entrance, propelled by a mix of fear and curiosity. Inside, chaos had erupted. Chairs were overturned, and people were milling about, their faces blurred with confusion and concern. The air was thick with panic, almost palpable. Someone shouted. It was a woman, her voice high-pitched and trembling. "Someone help. There's a man down." Lily's stomach dropped. She pushed further into the crowd, searching for the source of the commotion. Charles was instantly beside her, his face set in a mixture of worry and determination. They moved through the throng, trying to piece together what was happening. As they neared the center of the hall, the crowd parted like waves, revealing a man crumpled on the floor, his face pale and twisted in pain. The warmth of the hall faded quickly in the face of reality. Breathing hard, Lily felt her pulse quicken, panic swirling up with each heartbeat. "What happened?" she gasped, turning to a fellow attendee who was kneeling beside the injured man, their hands shaking yet steady as they attempted to assess the situation. "He just collapsed." The woman gasped, her breath hitching. "He hit his head when he fell. We need help." Charles stayed close, but Lily took a step toward the man on the floor. He was vaguely familiar, a local business owner, known for his generosity and community initiatives. Her heart clenched as she recognized him, a reminder of what was at stake. He was familiar to those who thrived on the support he provided. "What do we do?" Charles urged, glancing at her. His eyes mirrored her fear, but also a strength that settled over her like a comforting shawl. "Call an ambulance," she shouted to anyone who would listen, her voice rising above the confused murmurs. "We need to get him help." Suddenly, the energy of the room shifted as people started to respond. Phones were pulled out, and cries of reassurance began to ripple through the crowd. Lily knelt beside the man, pressing her fingers gently against his wrist, searching for a pulse. Her hands trembled slightly, but her focus remained unwavering. "What's happening?" Another voice rang out, a calm authority that cut through the noise. A paramedic had arrived, rushing past the gathering. She recognized him from their local fire station, and a flicker of hope ignited within her. He quickly assessed the injured man, kneeling and calling out directions for his team. "Just breathe," Lily whispered to the man, even if he couldn't hear her. "Help is here. Just hold on." As the paramedic took charge, Lily could feel the crowd's energy transform into something collective, a powerful resolve to help. Whoever this man was to them, he mattered. The dark clouds of doubt that surrounded Lily and Charles began to part, replaced by a budding realization. In the midst of chaos, they saw firsthand the importance of community and kindness. Even in the darkest moments, the heart showed its strength. And then, in the thick of it all, Lily caught the man watching from the shadows, that cold smirk gone, replaced by a glimmer of admiration. He nodded, as if sensing the change unfolding around them, then the unthinkable happened. A gasp rippled through the crowd. What if this was more than just a moment of chaos? What if it was a test of everything they had been considering? Even as hope ignited within them, dread loomed like the dark clouds overhead. Suddenly, through the growing tension, Lily felt a shift within herself, a pull towards something deeper. What was this connection to the man on the ground? Was it possible that a single act of kindness could change not just one life, but many? Then, in that most tender moment, everything came crashing down again. The man's eyes fluttered open. He turned toward Lily, and in those brief seconds, she could see a flicker of recognition and desperation. "Help me," he whispered, the plea hanging in the air like a fragile thread ready to snap. What would they do next? Would they rise to the occasion, or would somewhere deep within them falter under the weight of expectation? The night was only beginning, but the stakes had never felt higher. The moment hung suspended in the air, the weight of the man's plea pulling at everyone around. Lily felt her throat tighten as if the words echoed off the walls, piercing through the chaos. She blinked, searching the man's eyes, trying to grasp the fleeting hint of recognition. "Stay with us," the paramedic urged, his hands moving swiftly over the beleaguered individual. Lily could see the urgency in his movements, the way his brows furrowed and his words sharpened. "Can you tell me your name?" "Sam," the man gasped, each breath a struggle. Hearing his name shattered whatever hesitancy gripped Lily. Sam wasn't just a stranger in trouble, he was part of the very fabric of their community. He had stood with so many others, offered help, and now he lay here, vulnerable, with newfound determination. Lily leaned closer. "Sam, we're here," she said, her voice steady and warm. "Help is on the way. Just keep looking at me." The crowd quieted. They stood like pillars, each person desperate to quell their own fear while channeling strength towards the man on the floor. A collective exhale settled over them as they witnessed the undeniable bond building in such a harrowing moment. "Lily." Charles snapped her back to focus. He was watching Sam closely, his expression serious. "What do we know about head injuries? Is he's breathing," she reassured him, meeting his worried gaze. "That's something, right?" Hands gripped her heart. She could feel the weight of his life pressing down, almost like a silent demand for more than just kindness, a need for action, for courage. "Stay with me, Sam," she said again, hoping the warmth of her voice could pull him back from the brink. As her fingers clasped around his wrist, she felt a jolt, a connection that grounded her. "You're going to be okay. Just hold on." Chaos swirled around them, but through it all, she felt a stirring affection for the man who lay vulnerable. With each moment, she recalled how he had always shown kindness, how he had given back to the very community surrounding him now. They had shared laughter and community events, and yet, what had it all come to now? The paramedic barked orders as they prepared to move Sam onto a stretcher. "We need to stabilize him. Can you give me a hand?" he asked. Everyone gathered, without a second thought. Lily nodded. She wanted to be part of this, part of saving Sam. While others hovered in uncertainty, she felt a fire ignite within. Together, Charles and her positioned themselves beside the paramedic. "On my count," the paramedic said, steeling himself. Without hesitation, the three of them worked together, lifting Sam gently onto the stretcher. Each movement was careful and deliberate, the tension of the moment pushing them to act with precision. As they settled him down, Sam turned his gaze back to Lily. "Thank you," he whispered, his eyes finally closing. In that fragile moment, she saw the flicker of trust. He believed they would do everything they could to save him, and somehow, that felt like the most dangerous yet beautiful thing she'd ever experienced. She stepped back as they wheeled him away, heart racing. The world felt surreal, as if time had bent in their favor, molding the chaos into something hopeful. An ambulance siren wailed outside, breaking the silence, but deep inside, something had shifted. "We did our part," Charles said softly, barely above a whisper. Their eyes met, a shared understanding passing between them. But as they stood there, knowing they had fought for a life, the man from the shadows reappeared. His eyes glimmered with renewed intent. "You all have changed the game tonight," he said coolly. "And this is just the beginning." Lily's breath hitched. What did he mean? What game was he playing? Panic flickered before determination surged within her. She wouldn't let this moment define them. Was change really just beginning, or did they embark on something larger than they realized? With their hearts racing in time with the sirens, they felt a calling. One question hung in the air, heavy and electrifying: what would they choose next? Lily stood still, her mind racing. The words lingered in the air, vibrating like a taut string ready to snap. "Changed the game," the man had said. It felt ominous, yet oddly electric. She exchanged glances with Charles, and she could see the same mix of confusion and exhilaration reflected in his eyes. "What do you think he meant?" Lily whispered, trying to keep her voice steady even though the tremor of uncertainty betrayed her. "I don't know," Charles replied, glancing towards the doorway where the man had vanished again. "Something about this feels strange. I mean, did you see how he looked at us? Like we were part of some bigger plan." Lily nodded, her heart still pounding from the adrenaline of the moment. "But we just saved Sam's life, or at least, we tried to." They both watched as the paramedics pushed Sam into the ambulance, the siren wailing like a desperate cry for help. There was something else in the air now, something unnameable, and she could feel it pooling in her chest. "Let us follow them," she said suddenly, a spark igniting in her mind. Without waiting for a response, she took off towards the ambulance, tanking up her courage with each step. Charles fell into stride beside her, his presence grounding her. As they approached, the sharp scent of antiseptic wafted from the open doors. Paramedics bustled around Sam, their voices a blur of medical jargon. A small crowd had gathered, standing in clusters, eyes glued to the unfolding drama. "Sam! We're here!" Lily called out, her voice piercing through the chaos. For a brief moment, chaos paused. Sam's eyes flickered open, and he attempted a weak smile as he registered her presence. "Lily," he whispered, and the moment she spoke his name felt like a bond forged in bravery and heartache. "Stay strong," she urged, her heart heavy yet light. "You're going to make it through this. We're all rooting for you." As she stepped closer, a gentle tug of warmth wrapped around her heart. This was so much more than a fight for survival, it was a reminder of the ties that bound them, invisible yet heavy with meaning. The paramedics continued their work, checking mundane details, while the siren still sang its urgent melody. In the back, a young girl stood nearby, surveying the scene with wide eyes. She couldn't have been more than 8, her small frame dwarfed by the adults around her. "What's wrong with him?" she asked, her voice barely above a murmur, trembling as she looked at Sam. Lily knelt down to the girl's level, meeting her innocent gaze. "He's hurt, but they're helping him. We're all helping him. Can I help too?" There was such sincerity in the girl's question, her heart open as if to say, "Tell me how." Lily felt something swell inside her, a mixture of disbelief and admiration. "Of course. What can you do?" The little girl thought for a moment before her face lit up. "I can pray. That always helps." As she closed her eyes, her small hands clasped together, it was like a spotlight turned on in the midst of chaos. The crowd quieted, shifting their attention from the frantic activity to the hopeful innocence of a child. "See, Lily?" Charles whispered, a smile breaking across his face. "Sometimes, it takes a little heart to remind the world." Just then, the man from the shadows reappeared, observing this newfound transformation. His eyes, intense yet curious, seemed to glimmer with approval. What if this is the very change? He murmured into the ether, his gaze fixed on the girl. What if this single act of kindness unlocks something we never expected? Lily turned to him, feeling a rush of unease. What could he mean? And more importantly, what would happen next? She realized this moment wasn't just about Sam, it was about the ripple effects that kindness could have on lives intertwined. But would it be enough to break the cycle of despair? The weight of her curiosity grew heavier as she considered the implications of what lay ahead. What changes awaited them, and how far would they all go to protect the fragile threads of their community? The pressure of the moment thickened, and now, as they witnessed the girl's genuine wonder, it felt like the calm before a storm of possibilities. Whatever lay ahead, they were ready to face it together. But one question loomed larger than the rest: would this night truly change everything? The ambulance doors slammed shut, punctuating the air like a gunshot. The siren's wail echoed in the darkness, fading as it sped away. But the night wasn't finished with the town yet. Lily stood at the edge of the crowd, still buzzing from the chaos, her heart pounding a rhythm that mirrored the unsteady breaths around her. Lily. Charles's voice broke through her thoughts. He was still by her side, grounding her, his eyes searching. We should go back inside. Yeah, she replied, her voice shaky but resolute. Let us find Mom. But something else pulled at her, a feeling that wouldn't let her go. Lily's gaze drifted to the shadowy figure still lingering at the edge of the crowd, the man who had intervened earlier. His face, half illuminated by the flickering streetlight, twisted into an unreadable expression. Almost as if he was waiting for something profound to happen. That uneasy feeling churned within her like a storm. You think he's involved in all this? Charles whispered, his voice low, carrying the weight of their shared uncertainty. No idea, Lily mumbled, but something's off. She looked back toward the ambulance's fading lights. Shouldn't we be helping Sam? The man approached them, closing the distance with deliberate steps. You handled yourself quite well, he remarked, a hint of approval flashing in his eyes. What you did back there, it was commendable. Charles stepped in front of Lily, protective instincts emerging. What do you want? I want to help, young man, the stranger replied, his voice smooth like silk yet laced with something darker. The night was full of potential before that incident, and it still is. There's a storm brewing just beyond the horizon, and you two are right in the eye of it. What storm? Lily insisted, bravely stepping forward. Compassion, my dear. The kind that raises people up or the kind that tears them apart, he stated, his gaze shifting from Lily to Charles. It's time you understood the weight of your choices tonight. The community is ripe for change, yes, but it is also vulnerable. I don't know what you're talking about, Charles retorted, his voice shaking with tension. We saved Sam. That's enough. Or is it? The man replied, his smile faltering to reveal something more serious. What if you have the chance to do more? To truly transform your town? Lily felt her heart skip a beat. Transform how? By investing yourself into it, as you've done tonight. But there's a bigger challenge ahead, and I'm here to guide you. The opportunity for greatness awaits. What's the catch? Charles asked, skepticism seeping through. The man chuckled softly, an unsettling sound. Nothing comes without a price. It's simple, your choices will define what is at stake. Do you accept the challenge to become leaders in this community? Lily exchanged a frantic look with Charles. Was this really happening? But somewhere deep within, doubt began to lift, and hope was ready to bloom. What do we have to do? Lily asked, her voice steady now, fueled by the fire that flared within her. Gather support, make your vision known. Create programs that uplift others, rebuild connections, and bridge those forgotten by wealth and loneliness. Your stories are powerful tools. With a little guidance and investment, the community can rise like never before. Why us? Charles pressed, still protective but now curious. Because you possess something rare, a spark that could ignite a flame. Together, your kindness paired with ambition will lead the way. Lily felt a pulse of understanding ripple through her. We can do this, she whispered, her eyes gleaming with determination as she grasped Charles's hand. We already started when we helped in the pantry. This is just the beginning, right? We need to talk to the others, Charles agreed suddenly, a newfound conviction settling upon his shoulders. Make this place a home again. What will it take? Lily asked boldly. Commitment, the man replied, a gleam of satisfaction crossing his face. And a promise to be open to the possibilities ahead. She nodded, vibrant energy surging within her. We promise. As the man stepped back, a sense of release spread through the crowd that had gathered, hushed voices swelling into a unified hum. In that moment, Lily understood the gravity of what lay ahead. Not just for Sam, their friends, or even for themselves, but for the entire community. They were ready to take the plunge. They were stepping right into the heart of change. We're going to help everyone, Lily declared, her voice clear like a bell amidst the noise. We just have to believe in ourselves and each other. With the road ahead still shadowed by uncertainty, hope for the future flickered like the streetlights overhead. Hand in hand, Lily and Charles felt grounded in something bigger than themselves, ready to embrace the change they could make happen. As they turned back toward the building, the night brightened, not just with the glow of lights but with the spirit of determination. A day that had started shrouded in despair now radiated with unimaginable potential. The air buzzed with a fresh energy. Together with their community, they would heal. They would uplift. And when they stepped inside, shoulders squared, hearts open, the shadows that once loomed now seemed to retreat, replaced by the warmth of collective hope. This was their moment, the awakening that would turn kindness into true change. Lily stood tall at the forefront of it all, with Charles beside her as they prepared to face the challenges ahead, ignited by their purpose. The storm the man had spoken of was no longer a threat, it was the promise of transformation blooming before them. Let us get to work, she said, an unwavering smile lighting her face. And with that, the journey began not just for them, but for everyone who called that town home. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now, let us fuel this algorithm together. Comment down below your thoughts and feelings about the ending. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support and help us continue this journey of stories. Don't wait not even one more second to share.